Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going behind the shift from funnels to flywheels in high-performing businesses. Now, for years, the standard playbook for growth really has been all about perfecting the sales funnel, that linear path from awareness right through to purchase.
It's an intuitive idea, isn't it? That very structured approach. You pull prospects in at the top, nurture them along, and well, hopefully they pop out as customers at the bottom.
It definitely seems logical on the surface anyway, but the reality is, and I think a lot of businesses find this, despite all that effort tuning the funnel, they still face challenges like customers dropping off right after the sale.
Or marketing returns that just seem to diminish over time.
Exactly. And this feeling that growth is just this constant heavy lift. It's like you're always pushing uphill.
Precisely. And the big shift, the core idea we're exploring, is that maybe that traditional funnel, because it's so linear, might actually be limiting a business's real potential. I mean, think about it. Who are usually your best customers?
The ones who come back, right? The
Yeah,
ones who tell their friends.
exactly. They return, they recommend you, they become part of your growth story. And the funnel, well, it doesn't really have a neat place for that kind of circular energy.
Okay, so that's where the flywheel model comes in. You're saying it's a pretty fundamental change in how we should think about growth.
Absolutely. Forget that sort of top-down straight line. The flywheel is all about creating this self-reinforcing cycle. It builds momentum.
That seems like a key difference. The funnel has that endpoint, the sale, done.
Right. But the flywheel sees that happy customer not as an endpoint, but actually as like new fuel for the whole system. That delighted customer actively helps drive future growth.
Okay, so the basic idea then is deliver exceptional experiences, always,
hmm
at every touch point.
Pretty much. Consistently delivering really great experiences, that's how you start building this compounding momentum. Delighted customers aren't just, a closed deal. They become these force multipliers.
Through referrals, repeat business, feedback, all that good stuff.
Exactly. They give you referrals, they buy again, they give you valuable feedback you can use to improve.
Got it. So the purpose of this deep dive is really to get under the hood of the flywheel model. We want to understand how it creates that sustainable, momentum-driven growth, moving past the limits of those old sales funnels.
That's the plan. Let's dig into how it actually works.
Okay, let's unpack this. That analogy you mentioned, a spinning wheel versus a leaky container, that really paints a picture when we compare flywheels and
It
funnels.
does, doesn't it? The funnel, even a really well-optimized one, often feels like customers just sort of disappear once they hit the bottom.
They leak out all that effort you put into getting them there.
It feels a bit wasted, yeah, if they don't stick around or, tell anyone else about their good experience.
Right. And the numbers back this up, don't they? I think Bain& Company found it something like 5 times more expensive to get a new customer than keep an existing one.
That's the stat, 5 times. And they also found that just a small increase in retention, say 5%, can boost profits massively, anywhere from 25% up to like 95%.
Wow. Those are big numbers. You can't really ignore that.
You really can't. And it's worth remembering where the funnel idea came from. It dates way back, 1898, I think.
Really? That old?
Yeah. And it kind of matched how people bought things back then, much more linear. But today, customers research everywhere. They engage on so many different channels before they even think about buying.
They're definitely not following a neat straight line anymore. They bounce around, compare notes, check reviews.
Exactly. And this is where the traditional funnel starts showing its weaknesses. The first big one is those artificial endpoints.
Meaning the sale is treated like the finish line?
Precisely. It doesn't really factor in that customer coming back for more or becoming an advocate. So once the sale's done, the process just stops.
Right.
And you have to start all over again finding new people.
Constantly refilling that leaky container, which leads to the second problem, the resource drain.
Right. Because the funnel focuses so heavily on getting new customers, businesses end up putting most of their money and effort into the most expensive part of growth.
Which maybe limits how effective their overall marketing can be.
It definitely can. You might be pouring money into attracting new leads when you could get a better return by, looking after the customers you already have.
Makes sense. And the third issue, missing out on momentum.
Yeah, the sheer power of happy customers talking to other people. Word of mouth. Advocacy. That stuff is gold.
Because a recommendation from someone you trust is way more powerful than an ad.
Infinitely more powerful. And the funnel, well, its basic structure doesn't really have a built-in way to capture and amplify that organic growth.
So putting it all together, funnels might look neat, but they can actually hold back growth. They can create silos between teams.
Uh-huh. Marketing does its bit, hands off to sales, sales hands off to support. It can get disjointed.
Right. And they undervalue long-term relationships,
Yeah.
ignore that compounding satisfaction, and just focus too much on that first sale, that conversion rate, instead of the bigger picture customer lifetime value.
Okay, so we've laid out the problems with the funnel pretty clearly. Let's pivot now to the alternative, the flywheel. How is it actually engineered for perpetual growth?
So, at its heart, the flywheel is really a system. It's a series of interconnected actions that feed off each other, creating this self-reinforcing cycle of growth and, importantly, momentum.
Interconnected. That feels like the crucial word there. It's not just step one, then step two, then step three.
Not at all. It's about how different parts of the business, marketing, sales, service, product, how they all work together and strengthen each other. It generates continuous motion.
So it's less linear thinking, more
It's
systems thinking.
Exactly. The flywheel emphasizes that big successes usually aren't from one single big push. They come from consistently applying effort, unified effort across several areas that all feed back into each other. And this isn't a totally new concept, right? Jim Collins talked about it in Good to Great.
He did. He really popularized the metaphor. And you see huge companies like Amazon openly talking about thinking in terms of flywheels.
Right. And the metaphor itself, the heavy wheel, is quite apt. It's hard work to get it moving initially.
Very hard. That first push takes the most energy. But once it starts spinning, each turn gets easier because of the momentum it's built up.
And in a business context, improvements in one area, say customer service, actually make other areas, like sales or marketing, easier or more effective.
That's the beauty of it. It creates this positive feedback loop. You get compounding returns and faster growth over time, not just those sort of isolated bumps you might see with a funnel initiative.
Okay, let's talk about the sort of physics of this. How does it actually work in terms of business growth?
Well, just like a physical flywheel stores kinetic energy, the business flywheel stores and builds momentum through positive customer experiences. Every single time you truly delight a customer, you're essentially adding energy to your growth engine.
And those delighted customers, they become the force multipliers you mentioned.
Exactly. They're the ones driving those high-value referrals, giving you amazing testimonials, buying from you again and again. They actively push the flywheel forward.
So the model revolves around three core phases, right? Attract, engage, and delight.
That's the core loop. Attract, engage, delight.
Okay, let's break those down. Attract, drawing people in. How is that different in a flywheel context?
Well, instead of maybe relying solely on paid ads, the flywheel emphasizes creating genuinely valuable content, building an engaging social presence, doing really targeted outreach, and, crucially, it leverages your existing happy customers to help pull new prospects in.
So using your current momentum to attract new business. Makes sense. Then engage.
Engage is all about building real relationships. It's not just about pushing for the sale. It's personalized interactions, exceptional service, focusing on two-way communication, and delivering value even before they buy.
Building trust, basically. And finally, delight. This sounds like the payoff.
It is, but it's also fuel for the next cycle. Delight is about going above and beyond, exceeding expectations. The aim is to turn satisfied customers into genuine advocates, the people who then power the attract phase organically.
So it closes the loop. Delight fuels attract.
Precisely. And that's where the compound effect really kicks in. Every delighted customer adds more force, making it easier to attract and engage the next customer. As momentum builds, the energy, the cost needed for growth actually starts to decrease. It becomes self-reinforcing.
Okay, so we understand the attract, engage, delight cycle. But how do we actually maximize the flywheel's impact? It's not just about setting it spinning, right? There's optimization involved.
Absolutely. You can't just set it and forget it. To really get the most out of it, you need to focus on two things: actively adding force to make it spin faster, and consistently reducing friction so nothing slows it down.
Adding force and reducing friction. Okay, let's talk force amplifiers first. What kind of things really add power to the flywheel?
Well, number one is creating truly remarkable customer experiences. Experiences people actually want to talk about.
Word of mouth fuel.
Exactly. Then, implementing systematic feedback loops. You absolutely need to listen to your customers consistently to keep improving, not just collecting complaints, but actively seeking insights.
Makes sense. You can't improve if you're not listening. What else?
Well-designed advocacy programs, making it super easy, maybe even rewarding, for happy customers to refer others.
Streamlining referrals.
Yep. And finally, investing seriously in customer success, making sure customers get real, long-term value from what you offer. That makes them sticky and turns them into advocates.
Okay, so those add force. What about reducing friction? What slows the flywheel down?
Friction can pop up everywhere. A clunky buying process is a big one. Make it smooth, easy, intuitive.
Slow response times, too, I imagine. Waiting for support or answers.
Huge friction point. Whether it's sales, support, social media, slow responses kill momentum. Simplifying product onboarding is another key area. If it's hard to get started or use your product, that's major friction.
Creates frustration right away.
Exactly. And internally, breaking down silos between departments, sales, marketing, service, if they aren't aligned and talking to each other, the customer feels it. It creates jarring, inconsistent experiences.
Okay, so add force with great experiences and advocacy, reduce friction by streamlining everything. But how do we know if it's working? How do we measure the flywheel's health?
Good question. You need the right metrics. We can group them into a few categories. First, momentum metrics. These look at the long-term impact and advocacy potential.
Like customer lifetime value, CLV.
Exactly. CLV is key. And Net Promoter Score, NPS. How likely are customers to recommend you? Those give you a sense of the overall momentum.
High-level indicators of relationship health.
Okay. Then, efficiency metrics. These help pinpoint friction. Things like customer effort score. How easy was it for the customer to get something done? And time to value, or TTV. How quickly do customers see the benefit of your product?
So these tell us how smoothly the wheel is turning.
Pretty much. And finally, growth metrics. These track the actual acceleration. Your referral rate, your customer retention rate, these show the tangible results.
The outcomes we're aiming for.
Right. And the crucial thing is you have to consistently track and analyze these metrics. That analysis tells you where you need to add more force and which friction points you need to tackle first.
It sounds like this whole approach creates a really positive feedback loop. Happy customers drive growth, which lets you invest more in making customers even happier.
That's the virtuous cycle you're aiming for. Every success strengthens the flywheel, making it more efficient at generating and sustaining that crucial momentum for the long haul.
So the big takeaway here is moving to a flywheel isn't just tweaking your model, it's a fundamental mindset shift about your customers and sustainable growth.
Absolutely. It's moving away from seeing customers as just transactions and towards building real, lasting relationships that become the engine of your business.
Okay, we've got the flywheel model, its advantages over the funnel. But for a business wanting to make this shift, how do they actually build that initial momentum? It feels like a big step.
It can seem daunting, definitely. But remember that analogy of pushing a heavy boulder uphill.
Yeah, the first push is the hardest.
Exactly. It takes the most effort to overcome inertia. But once it starts rolling, gravity and momentum help out. Building business momentum with a flywheel is kind of similar.
Makes sense. Get it turning first. And we know these momentum strategies lead to higher customer lifetime value than the linear funnel approaches.
Significantly higher, typically. Think about that outdoor adventure company example. They shifted focus to year-round engagement, indoor programs, community building. They weren't just focused on selling trips during the busy season.
They were building relationships.
Right. And that's why they saw that huge jump in off-season revenue. And their acquisition costs dropped dramatically because referrals and repeat business just took off.
So the key is continuous engagement and value, not just those transactional peaks.
Precisely. Now let's revisit those physics components. Force, friction, and mass. Understanding how these interact is really key to building that momentum.
We talked about force, but maybe specifically for building momentum, identifying those initial pushes.
Yeah, and the trick is to maximize impact with minimum wasted effort. Focus on activities with compound returns. Good content marketing keeps working for you long after you create it. Customer success initiatives naturally build loyalty and referrals. Smart automation scales your impact.
So strategic investments that pay off over time.
Exactly. Like that software company investing heavily in customer education. Great onboarding, regular training webinars. They weren't just helping users, they were creating successful advocates who drove massive growth.
And then there's friction again, the thing slowing it down.
Right. And friction can be sneaky. A slightly confusing checkout step. Maybe unclear communication between sales and support. Finding and removing these drag points is essential for building momentum. Remember, the e-commerce store simplifying returns and product info. Small change, big impact on returns and satisfaction.
Making the whole journey smoother.
That's the goal. And then there's mass. In this context, mass is the cumulative impact of your customer base.
So more happy customers equals more flywheel weight, more momentum potential.
Kind of, yeah. A larger, more engaged customer base gives you more potential for word of mouth, more data for optimization, a stronger market presence, maybe even better negotiating power. That subscription meal service that obsess over retention. There's stable, growing mass-fueled recurring revenue and organic referrals, creating that powerful, self-reinforcing loop.
So it's not just about getting new customers. It's equally, maybe more important to keep the ones you have happy and engaged.
Absolutely crucial. Now, let's look at force multipliers again, specifically for accelerating momentum. These are the strategic elements that amplify your efforts, giving you disproportionate returns.
Working smarter, not just harder. Focusing efforts for maximum yield.
Exactly, like that B2B software provider turning their support team from reactive fixers into proactive educators and upsell spotters. That's a force multiplier. They were already talking to customers. They just reframed the interaction for much bigger impact.
How do businesses spot these multipliers? Are they obvious?
Often they're hidden in plain sight. Start with data. Analyze customer interactions. Where are you seeing unexpected success? Which engagement strategies are already working unusually well? That retail chain, noticing their free workshops, drove higher spending. That was a multiplier they could then scale.
So find what's working exceptionally well and double down on it.
Pretty much. Then it's about strategic implementation. Training your team, using automation to scale, setting metrics to track the impact. And the real magic often happens when you combine multipliers. Remember that professional services firm? They combined thought leadership, client stories, and personalized outreach. The combined effect was way bigger than any single element alone.
That synergistic effect, very powerful.
It is. And another huge lever for momentum is proactively reducing friction. We keep coming back to this, but it's vital.
Because any friction acts like a brake on the flywheel.
Absolutely. That B2B tech company streamlining their internal sales approvals, removing that bottleneck sped up their whole cycle, boosting momentum.
So it's internal friction too, not just customer face.
Yes, absolutely. Think about friction at each stage. Awareness, unclear messaging, consideration, too much confusing info, purchase.complicated checkout, onboarding confusing or slow, ongoing use, poor support, or clunky features.
And for each stage, there are targeted fixes, simple messaging, proactive support.
Right. And remember internal friction, those silos between teams. Clear workflows, open communication, they're essential for a smooth end-to-end experience. That e-commerce company breaking down silos and slashing response times. Classic internal friction reduction.
So friction reduction isn't a one-off task. It's ongoing.
Continuous commitment. Regular feedback, monitoring systems to spot new friction points, measuring the impact of your efforts. And finally, consistently measuring and optimizing your overall momentum is key for sustainable growth. It's not just getting it spinning, but spinning well.
And we talked about those metric categories: velocity, efficiency, impact.
Right. How fast are customers moving? How efficiently are you using resources? What's the long-term impact? That SaaS company finding high onboarding costs and optimizing the workflow. That was improving efficiency, saving money without hurting success.
So it's measure, analyze, optimize, repeat.
Exactly. And you need good data collection and analysis, quantitative and qualitative feedback.
Yeah.
Customer journey analytics, engagement monitoring, feedback tools, dashboards, they're all vital.
And focusing optimization where it counts most.
Yes. Like that retail company finding mobile app users were way more valuable, so they prioritized the mobile experience, focus on the highest impact opportunities.
So building and maintaining momentum, it's a long game. Patience, persistence, systems thinking, focusing on great experiences, and removing friction.
That's the essence of it, building sustainable systems that keep the flywheel turning powerfully.
We've talked a lot about the mechanics. Let's really dive into customer experience now. You said it's critical fuel for the flywheel.
Absolutely critical. Think of a snowball rolling downhill.
That does.
A momentum, right? Exceptional customer experiences do the same for your business flywheel. It's not just the initial push, it's the continuous acceleration from happy customers.
And those effects compound. Better retention, more referrals, lower acquisition costs. It reduces that constant pressure to find new leads.
Exactly. It shifts the focus from transactions to relationships. Customer experience isn't just part of the flywheel, it's arguably the primary fuel keeping it spinning effectively.
So how do we intentionally shape this experience-driven flywheel? It sounds like it needs deliberate design.
It absolutely does. It's about proactively anticipating customer needs and consistently exceeding their expectations at every single stage. You need to design those moments that build momentum while also ruthlessly eliminating friction. Remember the B2B software provider mapping every interaction. That let them spot and fix the disconnected parts for a smoother flow.
So it starts with really understanding the journey from the customer's viewpoint. Empathy is key.
Crucial. And your overall experience architecture needs to align with how customers make decisions and support your business goals. Each stage offers unique chances to build or lose momentum.
Okay, let's break down the touch points. Pre-purchase, building momentum before they even buy.
Yes. Focus here is on trust and value. Great educational content, transparent pricing, social proof like testimonials and case studies. Your website shouldn't just sell, it should guide and help. That tech service provider boosting leads with interactive assessment tools. They were giving value up front.
Less selling, more helping. Okay, what about during the purchase itself?
Friction elimination is paramount here. Streamlined checkout, clear communication about next steps, easy access to support. That cloud company cutting cart abandonment with live chat. Perfect example of removing last-minute friction.
Making it easy to say yes, then post-purchase. This feels like a huge opportunity.
Massive. This is where you turn satisfaction into loyalty and advocacy. Structured onboarding for early wins, ongoing education, proactive support. That enterprise software provider using a success roadmap, they guided users to value, boosting CLV significantly.
Ensuring they get and maybe exceed the value they expected. And finally, advocacy, turning happy customers into champions.
Exactly. Design experiences that make sharing easy, natural, maybe even rewarding.
Right.
That financial firm's success story showcase. They gave clients a platform to share wins, boosting referrals, and even existing client investment.
Creating those share-worthy moments.
Precisely. And thinking about it structurally helps. Pre-purchase, purchase, post-purchase, advocacy. For each stage, think, what's the experience design? What are the momentum builders? What impact metrics track success?
That's a clear framework. Now, you mentioned emotional connections. How do those intangibles drive momentum?
Functional satisfaction is table stakes. It's the emotional connection, feeling understood, valued, cared for, that creates truly loyal advocates and drives long-term momentum. It comes from genuinely understanding and responding to individual needs beyond just the transaction.
Making customers feel seen.
Exactly. That boutique fashion retailer using contextual personalization, considering style preferences, even local weather. Their recommendations felt thoughtful, leading to way higher spending and repeat purchases.
Taking personalization deeper, how do businesses balance that with the need for automation and scale?
It's an art. Think of that cloud storage provider using triggered authenticity. AI monitored behavior to flag moments where personal outreach would be most impactful. It wasn't just automation. It was using tech to enable timely, genuine human connection that boosted engagement and cut support costs.
Using tech to find the right moments for human touch. What else makes personalization effective in a flywheel?
It starts with integrated data, a unified customer view, then deep contextual understanding, knowing the factors influencing their needs, and finally, optimizing delivery, right channel, right time. That e-learning platform adapting reminders based on user pace and preferences, big jump in course completion.
Being relevant and respectful of individual needs. And the ultimate aim is turning these great experiences into advocacy, the most powerful force multiplier.
Absolutely. Advocates are your best source of sustainable organic growth. Remember the premium coffee subscriptions, share-worthy moments. Crafting delightful experiences led to huge increases in social mentions and referral signups.
So how do businesses nurture advocacy? Are there different levels?
There are. You have passive advocates needing easy sharing tools, active promoters who might join structured referral programs, and true brand ambassadors deeply integrated into your community. That networking platform's ambassador council driving enterprise sales, that's deep integration.
A spectrum from simple sharing to partnership. And it needs to be mutually beneficial, right? Value for the advocate, too.
Critical. Advocacy programs need to offer real value exposure, rewards, early access. That creates a sustainable network.
So ultimately, great customer experience isn't just nice to have, it's strategic. It creates a self-reinforcing growth cycle, adding force to the flywheel, making future growth easier and more efficient.
Precisely. It's the absolute core of the flywheel model's success.
We've covered getting the flywheel going and the huge role of customer experience. But how do businesses keep that momentum going strong over the long haul?
That's the key to lasting success. Maintaining momentum requires ongoing, intentional effort. It's not set it and forget it. Companies that nail this see much higher long-term returns. Too many see growth stall because they lack consistent maintenance strategies.
So it's not just the initial burst, but engineering it to keep turning efficiently. And you mentioned focusing on retention, referrals, and efficiency for maintenance.
Exactly. Optimizing those reduces churn, boosts advocacy, and makes growth more cost-effective. Long-term momentum is about steady, efficient movement. And a key part of this is building systematic momentum drivers.
Systematic momentum drivers. What are those exactly?
Think of them as automated, intelligent systems built into your operations. Like a sensor network, they constantly monitor performance, adjust processes based on data, and proactively optimize things. That data analysis firm with their momentum monitoring matrix, they built a system to track KPIs and trigger actions automatically, even for small shifts.
Using data and automation to proactively manage momentum. And you mentioned three components: data-driven decisions, automated feedback loops, and scalable engagement.
Precisely. Like that premium subscription service, using AI to analyze customer communications. They use data insights, automated feedback routing, triggered personalized campaigns, all scalably. Big wins in satisfaction and support efficiency.
It sounds like understanding how all the pieces connect interactions, processes, is crucial for creating these drivers.
Absolutely. That cloud provider with the adaptive learning system for onboarding wasn't passive. It intelligently adjusted content based on user behavior. That's responding scalably to diverse needs. And the real power comes when these drivers don't just maintain things, but actively turn routine interactions into growth opportunities. Like the networking platform's impact cascades, turning one success story into case studies, referrals, advocacy enrollment, knowledge sharing.
Designing routine interactions for downstream growth. Now, what about those strategic force multipliers for keeping it spinning long term?
While systematic drivers maintain consistency, multipliers amplify impact at key moments for compound benefits. That fintech provider's growth amplification framework, they identified specific points in the life cycle where a targeted intervention yields outsized impact.
And a big part of this is cultivating those self-reinforcing feedback loops.
Exactly. That B2B software provider's community engagement, creating structured ways for customers to connect, share expertise, support each other, that reduces support costs and generates valuable content and advocates.
Building a community that fuels itself and accelerates growth. And balancing automation with human touch remains key.
Crucial. The professional services platform's advocacy ladder, automated sharing opportunities, but kept personal touch points via account managers. You need both. And then there are success amplification multipliers.
What are those?
Strategically maximizing the impact of customer wins. That SaaS platform's success cascade automatically turned wins into case studies, expansion recommendations, social proof. It's boosting retention and cutting acquisition costs by showcasing value.
Making the most of positive outcomes to fuel more growth. And we still need to talk about relentlessly eliminating friction for long-term momentum.
Absolutely. That e-commerce platform with friction detection networks monitoring interactions constantly, that proactive approach is essential. Your strategy needs reactive elements, fixing issues, and proactive ones, anticipating problems. Think of the consultancy's friction analysis matrix, categorizing technical, processed, and experienced friction with protocols for each.
So tech glitches get flagged, complex workflows analyzed, confusing interfaces improved based on feedback.
Exactly. And the cumulative impact is huge, like that consultancy saw with satisfaction and effort scores. Embedding friction reduction into your culture is key.
So maintaining momentum is really about orchestrating all these approaches: systematic drivers, multipliers, friction elimination, working together, and adapting constantly. And you mentioned self-sustaining advocacy networks as particularly powerful.
Hugely powerful, like the enterprise provider's advocacy ecosystems with multiple engagement levels and rewards. You need to understand the natural progression to advocacy and spot early indicators: high usage, community participation, positive interactions.
And once identified, how do you nurture them effectively?
Structured, tiered programs work well. Maybe champions as strategic partners, ambassadors as community leaders, contributors sharing more broadly. Each level needs tailored benefits. That consulting firm saw huge referral and retention boosts with their tiered program.
Providing increasing value for deeper engagement. And again, balancing automation and human connection.
Absolutely. That digital commerce platform's advocacy amplification system, automated identification, invites, tools, connections, rewards, but crucially included personal outreach, scaling effectively while maintaining relationships.
So long-term success comes from integrated systems creating these self-reinforcing cycles. Customer success breeds advocacy. Advocacy drives sustainable growth through trust.
That's the goal. The immediate next step for listeners.
Right.
Identify your current drivers and friction points. Then start building the automated systems and human touch points to maintain and accelerate your flywheel.
Okay, making that fundamental shift from a funnel to a flywheel, it sounds complex. What are the critical things businesses need to consider when transitioning?
It is complex, no doubt. It needs careful planning and execution. It's a total rethinking of growth strategy. The focus shifts from single conversions to continuous momentum driven by customer experience, retention, and advocacy.
So it's a more holistic, long-term view.
Definitely. It means re-examining processes, realigning teams that might have worked in silos, and bringing in new systems designed for long-term engagement, not just the initial sale. And crucially, it's usually not an overnight flip. It's phased. It needs consistent internal alignment and ongoing evaluation.
So where does a business even start planning this?
First step, a thorough, honest audit of your current operations from the customer's perspective. Map the journey, identify friction points, and spot opportunities where flywheel principles could make a difference. The cloud services provider mapping interactions and finding departmental handoffs were causing friction. That's the kind of discovery needed.
Pinpointing pain points and improvement opportunities through the customer's eyes.
Exactly. And look beyond just operational processes, how things are done to the underlying culture. How do people think about customers and growth? That enterprise software provider realizing their support team had huge potential for driving momentum with minimal disruption. That required looking at both process and potential mindset shifts.
Because support is already on the front lines. What about those internal processes still stuck in funnel thinking, even if customer teams are on board?
Very common challenge. That operational efficiency firm recognized this. They built a change management strategy, addressing operations and mindset training, workshops, feedback loops.
So changing tasks and changing how people understand their role in customer success. How do businesses track if the transition is actually working? What metrics matter?
Clear transformation metrics are essential. The digital marketing agency's transition impact metrics tracked everything from training completion and process migration to business impact like satisfaction, response times, revenues, CLV, referrals, engagement. Comprehensive tracking shows benefits early and maintains support.
Having data points is key for progress checks and internal buy-in. How do you actually build the new framework? Is there a typical phased approach?
Phased implementation often works best. Demonstrate early wins, minimize disruption. That software provider focusing on low-hanging momentum, first streamlining onboarding, proactive check-ins, quick wins built buy-in for bigger changes later.
Capitalize on quick wins to show value. What common challenges pop up and how can businesses overcome them?
Cultural resistance is big. People like routines. That marketing automation companies' Change Champions program, empowering internal leaders, is smart. Managing customer expectations is also crucial. Clear communication, like the professional services firm's transition communication matrix, keeps customers informed. And resource allocation, shifting resources without hurting core functions. And resource optimization protocol can help manage that strategically.
Proactive planning, clear communication, internal engagement are vital. How do businesses ensure this transition leads to real, long-term success, not just a temporary change?
Build for sustainable change. That tech consultancy's adaptive transformation architecture focused on scalable systems, integrating learning, pathways for innovation, and maintain operational stability during the change. The digital marketing agency's operational stability matrix, plus their engagement program, kept service levels high while fostering the new culture.
So it's a dual focus. Make immediate changes while building the foundation for ongoing improvement and adaptability.
Exactly. Sustainable transformation needs systems for continuous evolution. It takes patience, persistence, and a systematic effort over time.
We've covered getting started, maintaining momentum, transitioning. Now let's focus on optimizing the flywheel for maximum growth. Just having one isn't enough, right? It needs constant tuning.
Absolutely right. Optimization is about how well everything works together to drive growth. It's ongoing refinement, deep understanding of drivers, relentless friction removal, and ensuring teams, tech, and systems are perfectly aligned. High-performing flywheels treat optimization as a strategic imperative, not an afterthought.
An ongoing cycle of analysis, experimentation, tuning. You mentioned advanced mechanics like acceleration, momentum, resistance, and optimization.
Yes. Think of acceleration as strategic force applied at key leverage points for big initial impact. That cloud provider, redesigning onboarding for early wins. That maximized acceleration, boosting CLV and cutting time to value. Early momentum compounds. Momentum is the cumulative effect of positive experiences and force multipliers. That professional services platform focusing on success within 30 days. That built momentum, creating far more advocates. And resistance is still friction, slowing things down.
So efficient acceleration depends on finding those leverage points and minimizing resistance there.
Exactly, which requires comprehensive, ongoing friction mapping across the whole journey. Get input from customer-facing teams and customers themselves. Then prioritize fixing the friction with the biggest negative impact on momentum.
And internal systems and structure need optimization too, not just the external experience.
Critically important. Flywheel power depends on internal systems supporting it. Optimized companies often redesign structures around the customer journey, cross-functional teams focused on flywheel metrics. It leads to better coordination, faster decisions.
Breaking down silos, aligning everyone around customer success and momentum, and a truly optimized flywheel embraces continuous evolution.
Precisely. Markets change. Customer expectations shift. Your flywheel must adapt. Maybe establish a dedicated flywheel innovation team. Successful companies constantly challenge assumptions, experiment, and recalibrate to stay resilient and find new growth paths.
Not setting it and forgetting it. Constant attention, experimentation, improvement. What about the steward's mindset you mentioned for optimization?
It's about taking proactive ownership. That idea of a weekly momentum review, what's working, what's lagging, then commit to fixing one friction point each week. That consistent, disciplined nurturing has a huge compound effect. Market dominators relentlessly tune their engines. They don't just admire the blueprint.
Relentless incremental improvement. Okay, let's bring it all together. Sustaining momentum for truly significant, lasting business growth.
Right. Long-term growth isn't just about initial gains. It's building systems that maintain momentum over time. Focusing on self-reinforcing growth through continuous improvement of CX, team alignment, and friction removal. When it works, growth feels like a natural result of well-tuned systems.
Building an engine with its own drive. And you mentioned 3 dimensions for exceptional, sustainable performance: velocity, efficiency, and impact.
Exactly. Velocity is the speed and smoothness of the customer journey, getting customers to value quickly and turning them into advocates. Efficiency is converting resources, time, money, talent into momentum effectively, focusing on high-leverage moments for better resource use. And impact is the long-term results: reduced churn, increased expansion revenue.
So moving fast, using resources wisely, achieving lasting results. And businesses need to look beyond just the obvious KPIs.
Definitely. Understand the subtle indicators of flywheel health, and the real power lies in creating self-reinforcing growth loops that generate increasing returns. That's Service Design Agency's momentum multiplication framework, creating growth cascades, orchestrating interactions to drive expanded engagement and advocacy.
Creating that positive chain reaction. How can AI help optimize these complex patterns?
AI can be incredibly powerful for identifying and amplifying successful patterns. That e-commerce platform using intelligent growth optimization to find high-performing patterns and minimize spend on less effective ones. That's leveraging AI for smarter growth.
Using data and tech for smarter decisions. And building a sustainable growth architecture is about future-proofing.
Precisely. Building systems adaptable to market changes while maintaining velocity. Engineering dynamic stability. Balancing consistency and agility. Think modular service design, flexible pricing, adaptable resource allocation. Predictive tools and automation help anticipate and respond.
Designing for durability, responsiveness, compounding value over time.
Exactly. That's the true promise of the flywheel. Smarter, stronger growth that becomes more efficient over time. Through optimization, compound growth engines, and sustainable architecture, businesses get exceptional results with progressively less effort, continuously evolving. Success hinges on balancing current operations and future growth capabilities.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we've really explored this major shift, moving from linear funnels to the cyclical, momentum-powered flywheel.
And those core principles hold true. Attract, engage, and consistently delight, building that crucial momentum through outstanding customer experiences.
We've looked at the hidden costs of funnels and contrasted them with the self-reinforcing nature of the flywheel.
And stressed how vital it is to both add force strategically and relentlessly reduce friction to keep that flywheel spinning efficiently.
And ultimately, building a successful flywheel isn't a one-off project. It's an ongoing journey of optimization, adaptation, and commitment to the customer.
Absolutely. So Maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Take a moment and consider which specific part of your business, if you shifted your thinking from a funnel to a flywheel perspective, could generate the most surprising and most importantly, the most sustainable growth for you down the line.